Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking Chapter 3, all about networks. You know, we all rely on them constantly to share, stream, and communicate, but right now we're going to zoom in on the actual physical hardware and the logical connections that literally make the whole digital world happen.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, the basics of connecting. Second, hardware and topologies. Third, scaling up to different network sizes. And finally, some game-changing innovations. All right, Section 1, the basics of connecting. Let's look at the foundational pieces.
At the most foundational level, basically every single computing device on a network, from your super high-powered workstation down to that shared office printer down the hall, is called a node. Literally, if it can exchange data, it's a node. Simple as that.
Now, to actually get those nodes talking to each other, you need some kind of medium, right? You're either tethered via a wired network using physical UTP or super fast fiber optic cables, or, you're cutting the cord entirely. That means using wireless transmitters and receivers to push signals over Wi-Fi.
Moving right along to Section 2, network hardware and topologies. Let's get into the physical setups.
Okay, so the absolute gatekeeper for any node is the network card, or NIC. It's totally essential. Without this little piece of hardware sitting inside your machine, translating data into signals, well, you have no connection, period. And that's true whether you're physically plugging into an Ethernet port or just catching a Wi-Fi wave.
So how does a network layout actually come together in practice? Well, think of it like this. The internet flows into an ADSL modem, which is basically your translator to the outside world. And then from there, it feeds right into a central switch hub. That hub is what actually distributes the connection locally to all your devices. And when you plug multiple nodes into that central switch, you've just built what's known as a star topology. It's a hub and spoke kind of model, and honestly, it's the absolute dominant architecture you'll find in almost every modern home and office today.
Now, this layout is fantastic because it's highly resilient. I mean, one dead laptop isn't going to take down the whole office network. But there is a catch. There's a single point of failure. That central switch acts exactly like a traffic cop. If the cop goes on strike, well, the whole intersection shuts down and your entire network goes totally dark.
All right, Section 3, scaling up, network sizes. Let's talk about scaling distances.
It's pretty interesting. Networks are basically categorized entirely by scale. So a PAN, or personal area network, is just connecting your smartwatch to your phone. Then a HAN covers your entire house via a wire LAN. Step it up to a LAN, and you're connecting a whole office building. And finally, a WAN, or Wide Area Network, bridges massive geographic distances, like linking different bank branches across the entire country.
And naturally, the ultimate wide area network is the internet. It's the single global backbone that we all share. It seamlessly bridges all those local networks worldwide so we can exchange data on an absolutely massive scale.
Conversely, you've got an intranet. Now, this uses the exact same tech. We're talking network cards, switches, web protocols, but it is completely locked down. It's essentially a walled garden that's used exclusively internally by a specific organization or company.
But what if that same organization decides to selectively open a secure door for, say, specific clients or vendors? Well, then that intranet becomes an extranet. It definitely remains private, but it now allows authorized outside access for the people who really need it.
Which brings us to Section 4, game-changing network innovations. Let's look at some modern software tools.
So, riding right on top of all this physical infrastructure we just talked about are some incredible software innovations like VoIP, or Voice over Internet Protocol. By routing our voice and video over the internet instead of using traditional copper phone lines, VoIP basically eliminated long-distance fees. I mean, it's the exact tech powering free instant communication on apps you probably use every day, like Skype, WhatsApp, FaceTime, or Discord.
Meanwhile, we have the VPN, or Virtual Private Network. This creates an encrypted, totally secure tunnel right over the public internet directly into a private corporate intranet. It's honestly kind of a magic trick. It's what lets you securely access those private office servers, files, and even printers, all from the comfort of your living room couch.
So, from a single little circuit board to a massive globe-spanning web, the digital infrastructure all around us is just constantly evolving. And as our networks become increasingly wireless, highly virtualized, and basically seamlessly integrated into every part of our lives, it really makes you wonder, what limits are actually left for us to connect? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.